Lone Wolf Customs coming once again. How y'all doing? Oh, the little mini truck here. Mazda update. Done a little bit of work. I've been cleaning and shining on the interior. Checking electrical and a few things like that. I still got to vacuum, clean up some more, but headliner's a lot cleaner than it was. Cleaned on the windows. Took the mirrors off. I ain't running those grandpa mirrors. Been digging around trying to find odds and ends, parts. But that kind of still brings up that other question of if I start replacing parts that need to be replaced, then I have to paint the truck. Of course, if I start shaving things that I want to shave, then I'm going to have to paint the truck. So, yeah. Engine stuck, done Togens that. I filled the cylinders up with diesel. I even poured diesel down the intake and filled up the runners that way too. Got a wrench on it and pulling back and forwards on it. I ain't budged yet. Pulling the plugs out. Number 3, which is that one, is had a lot of rust on the plug. Let's see if I can find the plug. Always filthy other than that too, because they're freaking. There's the plug. See the rust. Logically, for that much rust to get in that cylinder to that point where it hits the plug, either the piston has to be all the way up, which it might be, or it's blown the head gasket or cracked the blocker head and filled that cylinder up with radiator fluid. And since there was no fluid in the radiator, a little bit of common sense and figuring this shit out states that most likely this thing's got a blown head gasket. Now, if it's got a blown head gasket, that's not too bad. I looked online, I can find a top-end gasket set from $30 to $75, depending on what brand and quality I want, blah, blah, blah. But if it's a cracked head or a cracked block, if it's a cracked block, it pretty much means the motor's getting jerked out and I have to put something else in it, either another motor just like this or a different motor altogether. If it's a cracked head, I could find another head if the bottom end's not damaged majorly and is repairable. So, I have my situations here, which I honestly, when I bought the truck, I kind of had the understanding that probably blew the head gasket, because it was stated that the person that had it before me, it overheated and they parked it. Most likely, if it overheats and somebody parks it, there's an issue. So I was kind of expecting it to be something like this, a blown head gasket or something. Hopefully it is a blown head gasket. Blown head gasket isn't that hard to fix. Basically, you unbolt some stuff, you bolt some stuff back up, and the hardest part about it is making sure the thing's in time. These things are not that difficult to be in time, so it shouldn't be terribly too damn difficult to pull that off. These are more like an old engine. There's still an overhead cam and everything, but they're not like a Nissan hardbody or something where you have to time a bunch of shit and it has to be perfect. I have to time the top to the bottom. As the marks are all in the same locations where they're supposed to be, it times easy. I've got a service manual that came with the truck, plus I had one from back when I had my sundowners in the first place, so it ain't no big whoop. And it also doesn't mean that, if the motor is trash, I could always do an engine swap. There's so many different possibilities of engine swaps that I could do. I could stick with Mazda, or I could do something completely different. Could do like everyone else is doing these days and do that Kia swap, or I could freaking do something different and do some Mitsubishi swap, or I could do something that no one's done yet. You know, it ain't like these things were rockets in the first place. They were not bad. They were torquey and they did have some juice. But at the end of the day, it is a little pickup truck. And when this thing's hammered, you know, it's gonna be low to the ground. And when it's low to the ground, I might not be interested in this thing going terribly fast. But that's kind of where she's sitting now. I got the radio working. Only one speaker's any good. Of course, you look at the speakers, you can kind of imagine there should be really any of them good, but don't really know. Not really 100% sure exactly where and what. I did find parts. I have the opportunity to buy the entire parts truck. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, because if I buy the entire parts truck, then I got another car out here that I got to deal with. Of course, you know, it ain't like I kept 2 squats on it. But sadly, the truck's actually in fairly decent shape. It's sitting in a junkyard, and of course, you know, parts have been sold off of it.